Our title reader is Pat Crossan. Thank you, Pat. And our judge is Lisa Rigge, who has judged for us before. She's a fine art photographer and well appreciated in the previous competitions. So thank you, Lisa. And I will. Oh, we have 42 entries tonight, so it's a light evening. We'll go through pictorial and journalism first, and then take a 5-minute break, and then we'll cover nature, creative, and critique feedback. And then we'll take another 5-minute break, and then we'll go through the winners. So now I'll share my screen, and we can begin.
So pictorial, basic 1 image. Marine getaway.
This is a lovely viewpoint where the photographer's standing. I just feel like I'm in the image, and there's a really nice S-curve going through on the right. One in the cloud cover with those cumulus clouds is absolutely perfect for this setting, because I don't think it would work so well in a with a cloudless sky, as most photographers will tell you. One thing you might want to think about doing is adding more contrast to the scene, because it's kind of a mid-tone. We call it a middle gray. And so I think if you play with contrast and brightness, I think you just add a little pop to it. But other than that, it's very, very well seen. The depth of field is very nice, and it just gives a really wonderful, smooth, icy feeling on the lake. And I think with a little more contrast, we'll even see more of the clouds down there in the water. Okay.
Pictorial intermediate, 3 images.
Okay, I also want to say tonight, when I'm remarking on the images, it's my opinion, okay? And if you agree with it, that's great, and if you don't, that's great. So it's only my opinion. So with this one, I just love it's a lovely color of the aurora with a different variety of molecules that are being excited in the sky. It's unfortunate to me that there's a little bit of a perspective distortion. If you look over to the right on the swing's a little tilted. And I'm not sure if this was done on a camera or an iPhone or some sort of a iPhone or cell phone, because there are apps there that I think could help help any of us make the print not so out of perspective when we're tilting the camera. The other thing that distracts from this image is the ladder. And what happens is that our eye goes to the brightest place. And what's really the most beautiful part of this image is the colors, especially against the trees. And don't forget that in Pictorial, you can clone. And there is some discussion about using AI that's in the new Photoshop, but that would eliminate you easily. I think you could eliminate the ladder and perhaps that post and make it a little more straight, and it would be an absolutely outstanding image because it's got all the makings of it. Okay.
Snapshot from New York.
This one, if you, it's adorable. It's a wonderful placement of the little girl. And what really is captivating is, as I look through, or you look through the image, first I think you'll see the yellow flowers. And as we extend back to the left, there's that those poles, the blue, purple, and yellow. Well, those colors match the colors that the little girl is wearing. And I think it's rather subtle, but even in its subtlety, it's very effective. And to have that leap over from yellow, which is the complementary color of purple, and the skyline is just beautifully lit, and the clouds are beautifully lit. There's nothing overexposed up there in the sky. The placement of the little girl is perfect and a wonderful seeing. Okay.
Katydid, take a break.
And what's really captivating with this is that the katydid is completely in focus. And it's up against a background that's completely blurred. So that's a really important way to isolate your subject, is to blur the background. There's the blur in orange coming in that leads us in to the katydid. You may not need all of the flower in there on the left, because it's such a it's bigger. It's a bigger shape than what the katydid is. But the color orange and green, again, complementary, really pop out the image. And even though the katydid's almost smack center, it's still a very effective photograph. We don't always have to keep things out of the center of the image. So don't be afraid to break the compositional rules once in a while. Okay.
Pictorial Advanced, 8 images. That crazy chicken lady.
I know this just wonderful concept here, and beautifully lit. And notice that it's almost what would you call it, duo colored, with the two colors, with the black and that beautiful magenta red that matches the background, that matches the rooster. So the color actually will keep our eye moving around the image. So sometimes you don't need lines to take the eye around the image, but a color will do that. And the look on her face and looking at the camera really brings a lot of intimacy into viewing the image. It'll be a whole different field if she if she were looking out. And even the rooster is looking, or the chicken is looking right at us as well. And it's just wonderfully seen and done, staged. Okay.
Odalisque, Salt Point, California,
And this-
2011.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2011, yes. And this is a beautifully composed image as well. And the depth of field is really good because it's in depth from the foreground all the way to the seal. And then the seal, or I want to say sea lion, but it's a seal. And then the depth of field falls off in the background. One thing that I think would make it even stronger and bring this beautiful animal more to the forefront is to crop off some of the top, because you see there's some white areas up to the right, and you can even take your hands up to the screen and maybe crop off a little bit. And all of a sudden, the seal just pops right out. It's just completely isolated. We see that those beautiful eyes and the face, that again is in perfect focus. And then there's a little bit of hint of purple and the blue down on the rocks to the left, and the lines going down there. So beautifully composed, well done, but just crop off a little bit of the top, and again, another perfect image. Okay, next.
Caught in the Light.
Beautiful, beautiful side light coming in from the left, and well handled in terms of not overexposing. You can take a look at the legs and see the texture still in the legs. I guess it's the cartilage. One thing that may make it stronger is not to have the legs so long. I'm down halfway down. It's a beautiful image in the foreground where the reflection is starting to swirl, but it competes with the top half. So this is an image that may work a little better with a little less. I think it's a hard image to decide, where do I want it? Do I want to crop off the head? How can I best show the light? Because after all, that's what's happening. Or even make it more square from the top, and then we focus in on the beautifully lit body in that orange color. Okay.
The Milky Way over, oops.
Iguazu.
Iguazu Falls, sorry.
And this again is another beautiful time of night and beautiful image of the Milky Way. But as you can see, it's tilted over to the left. And I think a little perspective cropping will help straighten it up and make it a stronger image than what it is. And sometimes I can, I have an eye for detail. My husband has an eye for the overview. I have an eye for the detail. Below the light, the building with the light, there's a little bit of a red and a little bit of a white dot. If you can, I would just suggest cropping those out because they're different color. It's the red pops out because it's red and the white pops out because it's white. But I think with that would then allow our eye to stay focused on the beautiful falls and the beautiful way that the falls are lit. Okay.
A nice grouping of wet ferns, Mount St. Helena, California.
And just a beautiful scene in the middle of the probably old growth forest here. And I could be wrong, but I think what the photographer successfully did here was to highlight the ferns in the foreground, or there was some light coming in from a break in the sky. And by the title also tells us exactly what to look for. And so it was very well handled, the lighting part, as well as the depth of field and using the f-stop, whatever f-stop the photographer did. And this is, my next comment is really, 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 really minor, but it might be something you might want to think about when photographing in the woods. Almost in the middle, up near the top, there's a log coming out, and at the top of the log, almost smack in the middle, the bark stops, and there's a little bit of a bare branch. And I'm just wondering if that were cropped out a little bit, because it caught my eye. Again, without that little piece leading out of the image, it'll even help our eyes stay focused in the middle of the foreground and where the ferns are. But again, that's really minor. Beautifully executed. Okay.
Pending storm over the Bridger Range.
And again, it's a beautifully, beautifully composed image. The depth of field chosen was spot on. This is a leading line, again, the S curve taking us into the image. And notice the end of the fence is almost in the middle of the image, but enough above that it's not cutting the image in half. And then following the fence leads us to that light area in the sky that's not overexposed and brings us back into the image. So it's beautiful, beautiful coloring and the light on here. And again, photography is all about light. Photography meaning writing with light. Very, very well handled depth of field and light-wise and compositionally. Okay.
Swirl.
And this is another image that I think a lot of thought went into. I envisioned that somebody photographing this would have taken a lot of photographs, trying to get just the right movement, the right image, the right everything. And I believe the photographer was very successful here because we can, again, follow the color of that magenta color or the blue on the yellow, which really pop out. And it brings us in and around, not once, but twice. And then the edge of the skirt, again, brings us around and keeps our eye in the image. And her eyes, her face and head is a little above halfway and almost in the center, which to me is really perfect because again, we have there's that eye contact between her and the photographer that adds intimacy and expression. And the shadow area on the face is very well handled because sometimes the sun can be so bright that it really darkens the face and puts it all in shadow. And fortunately, with our tools today, we can what they call open up the shadows without losing the detail. So this has been lovely handled again with the composition, the handling of the lighting. You notice there's no movement, and that's the whole other thing. There was a fast shutter speed, so everything was caught. and time stopped and the dance stopped for this moment. Okay.
Russian River kayaks.
And again, the beautiful colors that we saw in just that last image with the blues and yellows and magentas, when they're all together with the opposite colors side by side or in the same image, they pop out. The cool colors, the blues and greens, recede in an image, and the reds and oranges and yellows come towards us. So it's real fun to play around with those colors and see how it affects the image and the objects in the image and the depth of field in the image. One thing that I think would make this even stronger is, again, only a suggestion. But if it were well, I shouldn't even say that, but a suggestion would be maybe crop off the top. And I say that because a couple of reasons. My eye goes between the kayaks and the back of the image because of the title. I want to see that it's the Russian River area. So it takes me off the boats. And if it wasn't up, if we cropped down to just show the boats, all of a sudden, to me, they pop out even more. And the eye stays focused on the boats. And even the rocks in the foreground, they're well handled, they're very sharp, and they don't detract at all from the image. But a really nice scene to behold. Okay, next.
Pictorial Masters 4 images. Monolith.
And here's another compositional element, which is scale. That person adds a lot of information to this image and a lot of important information. And the fact that she, I think, is wearing red, again, just a little bit of red in an image goes a long way. And that's the only color in this other rather drab coloring of the monolith and the landscape. Beautifully, beautifully handled. It's a tough time of day. There are some shadows coming through, very, very light shadows coming through that the photographer was able to open up a little bit for us and see the detail and see the distance. And there's the leading line coming up to the path right to where the woman is situated. Well seen, well done. Okay.
Boys, Mercy Tribe, Ethiopia.
And when I talk about people looking directly into the camera, there's just an immediacy with this image and an intensity of this image, the way they're looking directly at the photographer, that is really, really, really striking. Especially how the photographer has the background all black and chose to photograph this in black and white. And to see just the beautiful light in the eye, the reflection of light on the lips and on the forehead, very well handled. And there's a lot of texture in this image. I can almost feel the blankets that they're wearing, and even touch almost that hole that's in her cape or her blanket or whatever it is. Just this is such an impactful photograph, especially because of the way they're looking at the camera. Very well seen and photographed. Okay.
Winter Morning in the Vineyard.
And I can feel part of photography is, can we feel like, for me, is can we feel like we're in the image and standing where the photographer is? And I have that feeling here, especially again with the help of the title. It tells me it's a winter morning, and I can feel that coolness in the air. What really helps this image is the pattern of the grapevines going through, bringing us into the image and into the abyss of the fog almost. It's one of the images, though, that I think might be helped by cropping some of the sky, or maybe burning in some of those clouds so that that bright light, morning light, isn't so bright, because my eye goes from the ground right up to the sky, and I want to stay in the sky rather than be tethered to the ground and grounded. But other than that, it's a very misty feeling, very mystical feeling, and well seen. Okay.
Old lovers.
And here there's such a delicacy by the use of the muted colors. And again, in our Photoshop or whatever post-processing you do, we choose what saturation we want in an image. And because it's such a muted saturation, and because of the color yellow, it just invites us to just sit and look at the image and appreciate the delicacy of the image. And the way that the title's perfect with the way the tree bends over to the left, sort of hugging the tree in back of it. The composition is spot on. We just need a little bit of ground, and there's all the upward movement, and there's texture in the back from the trees in the background that are not at all disturbing elements, because they too are very muted. Beautifully seen and beautifully handled. Okay.
Journalism. 3 images. Ice carver working on his sculpture for the Fairbanks World Ice Art Festival, Alaska, March 2014.
And titles are real important for journalism and nature and other and some other categories, but especially this one. And I really appreciate the title for this, because it really sets him in his environment, because there's nothing outside of this that tells me that we're in Alaska, except for the title. So I'm so glad that the title was included. We can see the block of ice that he's working on and the tools that he's working with, and can feel the cold. Look at the frost on the wire and just around everything. One thing I would have liked to have seen a little more closely would be what the sculpture is. It probably would have been very difficult. We never know how much time we have when we're photographing, but I wish I knew what he was making over there. That would have added also to the story, but with where you were, when you were, and what you did, very nicely done. Okay.
Peruvian deforestation. 1 of 3. The Andean cloud forest extends from Ecuador to Colombia and south into Peru. The roads through forested regions of Peru are dotted with impoverished villages.
Now, oh, good. Go ahead and read them all. Good.
Peruvian deforestation, 2 of 3. The forests are protected by law, but with no enforcement, clear cutting goes unchecked. The wood is burned or used for building and corn planted in the barren land. Peruvian, I just say 3 of 3. Ecotourism is raising awareness for the need to protect these areas and their wildlife, such as this tamarin monkey seen just 1 mile from the clearing in photo 2 of 3.
I think it's a great subject for further photojournalism. It's really nice to get the story, because I think journalism is a lot about the story as well, and being able to see it from this particular image where we're introduced to this, and we're introduced to the roads and to the power lines going through. And then if we go to the next one, if we can move to the next one, we get an even closer view of the clear cutting and more of the buildings. And the fact, what else is really good is the information we're getting from the title, that the forests are protected by law, but the law is not being enforced. And then the third image, where we're seeing what's happening around the environment to this particular Peruvian area. And so it's a very bittersweet story, and well done with the 3 images. One thing I was wondering, and I think the way that this is arranged is really good. At first I thought, well, maybe this particular image 3 should be image number 1. But then no, because what the photographer is doing is bringing us closer and closer and closer. So we really have a close-up view. So very, very well done. Okay.
Monte Vista Elementary School chorus students, grades 1 through 6, sang 16 popular songs in harmony for their year-end public performance titled Awesome 80s, Santa Barbara, California, June 3rd, 2024.
One thing that's so incredible in this image are all the gestures the kids are making. And I just think, what happened, you know, if they all had their hands folded in front of them or by the sides, there wouldn't be near the energy and interest in this particular image. And it's really been captured at a good time. And with this particular image, one could spend a lot of time looking at each individual expression in hands and just everything that's going on and the energy that's happening. One thing that, again, we're not always in the position that we want to be in. And, you know, I don't think if we were straight on, we would have gotten such a perception of all these various positions in the way that we do. So I like the perspective. And something else you might want to think about if you have more images is put this too into a little photo journal story. Just focusing in on a group of kids and then maybe focusing in on one, because there's so much energy, expression, and life in this image. And the more I look, or the more we look, I'm sure the more we see, like the boy on the right with that blue hat on, the girl up in the back row with the sunglasses on, just a lot of interesting things in this image. Okay.
Journalism Masters, 3 images. Police leave the Doors tribe to deal with their own issues, so the Council of Elders hears testimony against accused people at the weekly market day, then issues rulings. Doko Mesho, Ethiopia.
And again, the title's pretty critical here as well, because you know, we can identify now who the elders are and where they're sitting and who the testimony of and who the accused people are off to our right. And the polls there are very symbolic, I would think, of something, and it adds to the story. And to me, a bit of mystery, like what is really going on here and what will happen. So this journalistically has quite a story, and a story that's going to continue. Once again, the depth of field is very well done. The most important people are identified in the title, and we know there's that interaction going on, and we have a taste of it. And I think it's pretty powerful that we don't see the face of the accusers. Okay.
Eclipse Mania, 1 of 4. On the morning of April 8, 2024, over 400 eclipse chasers from across the country gathered at Uvalde, Texas, fairgrounds to await the great American eclipse. Some chasers, 2 of 4, some chasers were serious about their equipment. 3 of 4, very serious. 4 of 4. Eclipse chasing is always a gamble, and Mother Nature holds the cards. Perhaps Spain in 2026 will be different.
And again, the last image really was quite a surprise, and the way the photographer leads us up to it, I think, step by step, is really fun and informative. Everybody waited in expectation. This is a very expectant crowd here. And I love, you know, the way they're interacting and playing cards and doing everything while they're waiting. If we go to the next one, we get information. And especially the photographer chose to show us the real serious equipment and telescopes that are going on, and brings us more into the story. And this one, again, more serious and very serious. And then the last image, the whole letdown. And so it's very emotional. In haiku, the third line, they say needs to have a torque, which is like the surprise. And this is like the haiku series where we're talking about the environment and the time of day, and all of a sudden, boom. very well put together. Okay.
Wooden boat challenge, 1 of 4. Using hand tools and supplied materials, a youth division team hurries to finish construction within the 4-hour time limit. 2 of 4. As the rain clouds disappear, it's time to race. This team used an innovative outrigger design to simplify construction. 3 of 4. The winners in an exciting finish, 1st and 2nd place. 4 of 4. Last place, but cheered loudly by spectators for staying afloat and finishing the course after his outrigger collapsed. Bodega Bay Fishermen's Festival, May 2024.
And again, another photojournalistic story with a beginning, a middle, and an end, and a surprise ending. So the concept really was well implemented. And we get really close in to see what they're doing in the intensity of them building the boats by this particular angle and being so close. Okay, next. And then we're introduced to another method of making the boats, which adds again to the journalistic story. And we get more of an overview of the whole area here and the carrying of the boat. So it's like stage 2. Now we're bringing it to the water. And then lovely, that we're actually seeing who the winners are now. So the stories, you would think it would be complete now, but what does the photographer do? And we go to the last one. We have the person that came in last with the crowd cheering. Just the, what's the word? The intensity, the discipline this kid has, the determination that he's going to get there no matter what. And it's a lovely way to end the series and tell quite an interesting human story. Okay.
Take a 5-minute break, and then we'll continue.
Nature, intermediate, 1 image. Opalescent nudibranches feed primarily on hydroids and anemones. Not only are they immune to their stings, but the ingested stinging cells are absorbed into the orange tips of the serotic for defense.
And for nature, this wonderful description and tells us a lot about this particular animal and where it lives, and really interesting information that goes directly along with the image itself. That is quite lovely. It's a little difficult to figure out where, well, for me it was, to figure out where the head was. And it's the head that's turning around off to the right. You see the snout. And then the two, I can't think of, I can't think of the name of it, coming out of the head. So it's actually a longer type animal. I think he's kind of curled up right there. But again, that's minor compared to the photographer being able to get this beautifully exposed and this beautiful animal with a just incredible story. Well seen and well photographed. All right.
Nature, advanced, 5 images. Snow geese over the moon.
And here it's important that the title tells us that this is snow geese, because I don't think we would have known that without that, because snow geese are so white with the black tips on them. And it's really a lovely, almost pictorial image as well as a nature image. It does show you how the flock flies, and notice that no 2 wings are touching. I once heard a national photographer say the most difficult thing is to have the space between animals when you're photographing nature. And in the nature category, there is no cloning. There is no manipulation of the image like you have in creative and pictorial. So this had to be as it was seen. So a very beautiful image. One thing, though, you may want to, in the title, maybe state where the geese are going. Are they just rising from feeding in the morning, or are they heading out at night, going to their resting area? Because that would give us more of the nature story. Okay.
A leopard gives chase to a toppy calf in hopes of catching it. A leopard will stalk its prey, trying to get as close as possible before attacking, so to increase its chances of a kill. Masai Mara, Kenya.
And again, the story speaks for itself, and the action, just incredible. Getting the feet of the leopard off the ground like that, and the dust, and that poor the poor prey. What is it? Antelope. I forget what you call them. I apologize. But one thing that I think would make this even stronger image to keep our eye more on the two animals is to make it a panorama by cropping off a bit at the top. In nature, you can crop and you can adjust brightness and contrast and maybe correct the color. So it's perfectly okay to crop at the top of the image. A very wonderful moment caught and a good title. Okay, next.
Great blue heron, Ardea herotidias, with dinner.
And beautifully captured. I would think this is a very hard image to capture. In all my years of judging, I've not seen the snake like that in the air. So just beautifully done, with a lot of patience, I think the photographer had. And again, when I talk about separation, I think the photographer waited until a really good moment, or the universe was very good in not hiding the snake's head behind a plant. So again, we've got the story both visually and with the title that makes it an even stronger image. Okay.
A ring-billed gull skims the water as it takes off. An aggressive gull, they are common to the Bay Area and can be found along the ocean side in wetlands, San Rafael, California.
And again, beautifully lit, a most incredible reflection on almost a glass surface, and just perfect capturing with their feet just at the tip of the water. And we can see how he does skim as it takes off. And then the title gives us even more information and where the photo was taken. Well done. Okay.
Arctic tern, Sterna pardisia, Iceland, 2018.
Another beautiful, well-captured image of the bird, and the feathers and the detail in it. And one thing that I think would help, and story and titles are important in this category, that it would be nice to know what's happening with this term. Is it looking for food? Is it or going back to its nest, or just add a little more information? It's very pictorial as well. Okay, next.
Nature Masters, 3 images. Lions appear to be fighting while mating, but the act is consensual. Mating only takes a few seconds, but is repeated for hours, every 15 to 20 minutes. Masai Mara, Kenya.
And I think we all can look at this and appreciate it and say, wow. I'm sure if we were in a live audience, we would have heard a lot of gasps when this came up, which the right moment, the right everything. Being at the right place at the right time. And just absolutely incredible to see the teeth and knowing what's going on and learning about the mating habits of these lions. Beautifully done. Okay.
A storm cell, such as this isolated cell over the Arizona desert, moves and reacts as a single entity and functions as the smallest unit of a storm-producing system.
And another just incredible a photograph of the power of nature and the storms, and being able to tell that it's the storm cell and where it is. I think that's so important to the whole story. And it moves and reacts as a single entity. Just beautifully done. And I have a feeling too that we could learn more from the photographer about these storm systems and the weather and all. Just a lot of information and the photograph to go with it. Okay.
Not a honeybee. Melissadus is a genus of long-horned bees in the family Apidae. They specialize on plants in the sunflower family, Asteraceae, and are solitary ground nesters, Santa Rosa, California.
The most important thing about this image is it's not the honeybee, it's a different type of bee that's described, but it's all in focus. And that's so critical because he's so small in the image and the photographer is so close, or using a longer lens that kind of blurs out the foreground and the background. Makes the image, and in nature it's the story that's much more important than the technical aspects of the image. So the fact that the inner part of the flower in the foreground is out of focus really doesn't impact this as a nature slide at all, because that pollen and the bee and all is completely in focus. One thing I will mention is that compositionally, and again, this is very minor, but it's a master's image. Up at the top left, I think if you could tone down the little bit of the inside of the flower, because on the left, and then my eye would stay more on, even more on the bee, because that left-hand corner is pretty light. My eye wants to go back and forth. But again, I say it's minor because that's not the importance of a nature photograph. It's not the composition. It's the image and the story. Okay.
Creative intermediate, 2 images. The annular eclipse, reimagined.
The photographer did a really nice job on this and chose to have the panoramic view that is very powerful. And I'm not, quite sure what's going on with the particular image second from the right, but that's okay. Maybe it's the whole annular eclipse from start to finish. But well done, and very sort of mysterious arrangement in my mind anyway. And having it straight rather than have it curved is another way of presenting all the photographs. Very well done. Okay.
A paper wasp in blue.
And this is like the blue, the cyanotype overcast of this image. Again, another creative way of making a paper wasp even more papery by making the whole image like paper and glass, like the inners of the flower looks like some sort of a glass, very, very fragile. And so there's that fragility. The one thing that may help just a little bit, because this image certainly doesn't need a lot of help, it's so powerful on its own, is maybe tone down the ends of the wings on the left-hand side to make it maybe burn, by that tone down, burn them in a little bit more. I'm not sure there's some texture in there, but just so they don't fade out. But then again, the photographer may have chosen to do that, to introduce us from the left in there. So it's really photographer's choice. Okay.
Creative advanced, 4 images. Center of attraction.
And part of the creative description is the image can look real, but was there creativity in putting it together? And that's what this particular image is. And even the title goes well. The center of attraction, and there's 1, 2, 3 centers in this particular image. And just to think of this and to photograph it so well, very, very creative and well put together. One thing you might want to think about, if you can, because I would hope that something like this can be redone, is it falls off a little bit on the right, focus-wise, on the pine cone. and maybe dark, even dark in the background more, because there's some horizontal lines coming in at the bottom that kind of pull away from the triangular shapes of the pine cone. And look at all the various shapes in this one simple image, that the triangles, then the oblong flower petals, and then the center of the flower and the line of the bug. Very fun. Okay.
It's rising.
Beautifully conceptualized as well, with the flow of the tulips and the two different layers of the tulips and the different phases of the tulips. The ones on the top left are much more open than the ones below it. And the lines are really moving well. One thing about almost abstracts and almost abstracts is the emotion. That's almost the most critical part when you really go abstract. And this has such and I can apply emotion here because it has such a calming, flowing motion, and just beautifully offset against the black background again to really pull out what the subject matter is. And there's such a range of light from some very dark leaves all the way through the bright stems up to the oranges and yellows of the tulip. Very well conceptualized and implemented. Okay.
Night train on a bridge.
And again, look what a fast shutter speed can do for you is make a train look like a blur, a nice blur, moving line. Again, a beautiful place, spot where the photographer chose to take the image so that we have such a length of the train, or the motion of the train going around the bend, and then the beautiful part of the sky. And there's like two triangles, actually 3 triangles in the image, with the repetition of shape. And actually, as I'm looking, I see even more. And when there's a repetition of shape in a photograph, it makes it an even stronger photograph. We can read Santa Fe, and I like the contrast of being able to read the sign, but then see the blurriness. And that's bringing some opposites together, the motion, and then the stagnant sign, or that can be read. And so you have the two juxtaposed. Again, adds interest. My one really minor little thing would be on the right, under the train, above the pole. It's hard, I don't have a pointer, but there's a little bit of white, some sort of wires or something. I'm not quite sure what that is, but because it's so bright, my eye wants to go there. And I think if that were cloned out, it would make the image stronger, in that my eye wouldn't keep going back. So if you have a question about where I'm talking, just ask me later. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that can easily be cloned out. Okay.
Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam.
Lovely. And this is another very original, creative way of putting together our images using the buffalo nickel, and the choice of using the old sepia tonality in this image, and having the buffalo come out and beautifully lit. The background is not distracting at all. Inside the circle, there is the in-focus grasses and the in-focus buffalo, and the things outside unfocused. A wonderful concept and wonderfully implemented. Very nice. Okay, thank you. Oops, go next.
Creative Masters. Oh, looking
Sorry.
for, wait, we have to go back. We haven't done looking forward, looking back, have we?
No.
Go back one? Don't we have to go back one? Don't we have, oh, that's master, sorry. Creative Masters, one image.
Okay.
Looking
And-
forward, looking back.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking. Are you looking forward, looking back? And it looks like a flip mirror image. And again, the concept behind this was so well conceived, because I just want to invert the foreground and see the front of the image, the seagull up there. And yet It's the same ridge on both of them. And I would think, oh, this is easy. You just select and you flip it over, but no, it's not that easy to do. So it's a wonderful concept, a great title for this. Very curious about how it was done, and just wonderful. Okay.
Critique feedback, all levels, 4 images. Morning at a dune, Sisselflay, Namibia.
Whenever I see a dune, a Sisselflay, I think of Freeman Patterson, because he had a slideshow once, and he has probably a book out on these dunes and the different ways that they look at different times of day. And I mention that because you might be interested in it. And this time of day is morning, and well, it could be evening too, with the sun coming in. So the shadows don't look that elongated to me. And so there's a lot of light and brightness in this image, and I think it's been very well handled. Because in a bright day, when the light's just being reflected off the tree and the ground, and probably a lot of heat there that day, it makes it really hard to make a photograph that keeps the highlights not blown out, and yet you get that beautiful blue of the sky. I think it's a strong image, and I'm just wondering if maybe even making the sky more blue, don't be afraid to even exaggerate it more with maybe more deepening shadows and deepening of the blue. And on the left-hand side, almost to the top, about an inch or two down, there's a little something, I think it's a plant, a little bit of a yellow plant. I think that can be cropped out. And then there's some footsteps over to the right. And again, this is my opinion, that might want to, over to the right bottom, you might want to crop that out so as to make it even more like non-human environment there. But these trees even have their own story and how long they've been living, and they're just fascinating. The placement of the tree, I think, was done very intentionally, and I think it was very well placed, with the way that the tree fits into that side of the sand dune, and the branches follow the slope of the lower dune down into the shadow. So I hope that helps. Okay.
Jailed.
I know, a wonderful title. And there's such an emotion in this animal, the sadness or almost listlessness in it. And of course, being behind the bars. And there probably wasn't a way to get the two eyes in such a way that he was looking directly through the space between the bars. But even despite that, I think it's a very strong image because of the focus and focusing on the eyes and the bars and the title. It just all pulls together really well. And again, the other thing that works is that the background is completely blurred. So there's nothing competing with the background. And the tonality of the whole image is also that kind of somber brown that adds to the emotional quality and the sadness of the image and what it provokes or evokes, not provoke, but evokes. Okay.
San Francisco SRO, Broadway, circa 2011.
The word that came to mind on this image for me was gritty. And I'm sure that's what the photographer intended. And there's sort of a grittiness, a mystique to this, a harshness with the darks and lights. And the image of the person and the woman or the man up in the window is just striking. The vertical lines, there's a lot of vertical lines rising. And then it gets stopped, and we are told where this is. It's at a motel, and it evokes such a story. What is the story? I find, again, I keep going back to the word gritty, and I think it's a very emotional and mysterious and provocative image. Okay.
Port.
And if this were maybe, and I don't know if this was the same photographer or not, or perhaps a series, but this has the same sense of grittiness, but not quite as intense, because I think I didn't mention this, but in the prior image, I think there was like a blue cast that really added. And so this particular image, I think the sides and the bottom can be toned down quite a bit, or even more vignetted, because the subject of it is the motorcycles. And they kind of get lost in the rest of the image because we don't have those vertical lines coming down to them. So maybe a little more vignetting or a little more cropping and toning down the highlights to bring more of that contrasty light, more blacks. And I think that the motorcycles themselves at that point would pop out a lot more. And there is a diagonal line, a pole of some sort going up to the right of the motorcycle up the right. There's a line going up. And if that can be accentuated, that would bring our eye even further down to the motorcycle on the right. But I would somehow try to make the motorcycles a more important part of the image, because right now, to me, they seem to just be blending into the background a little bit, because there's a lot of lines, a lot of vertical lines on the right and left, and then the horizontal lines. So my eyes not going where the center of interest is. I mean, it's going there, but it's not going there directly. But again, that grittiness, and if this is part of a series, I think it would be a very powerful series. Okay.
Okay, thank you. We've covered all 42 entries. We'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back with the winners.
Pictorial Basic, 1 image, first place. John.
Green getaway.
Welcome, John. You can
M
talk.
key. Metadata M key.
Right.
Did no
And no metadata perhaps on this image.
Exactly.
But yeah, he's here.
I think he's here.
You can unmute John and talk if you'd like, but you don't have to.
Great
But
start.
It's the mute, unmute at the lower left corner of the screen.
Or press and hold down the space bar while talking.
Yeah, that's a quick tip. If you want to temporarily unmute yourself, hold down the space bar, speak, and when you let go, you're muted again. And if you figure it out and want to say something later, welcome. Anyway, we're moving on. Pictorial Intermediate, 1 image, first place. Amy. I believe she couldn't be here tonight.
I think that's right.
Congratulations to Amy.
very cute.
Pictorial Advance, 4 images, honorable mention. Sherry.
See chicken lady. It's awesome.
Very nice.
Great.
Very nice.
Oh, minor point, Lisa. That isn't that burgundy red as opposed to magenta red?
Probably. Well, we do see colors differently, don't we? But yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah.
Congratulations to Sherry. 3rd place. Ed.
Thank you. This was a very fun, wet day on the back roads of Mount St. Helena. Nice glow on the ferns. Pretty much right out of camera.
Nice find. Very pretty.
Thank you.
Congratulations. 2nd place. Ellen.
Yay. Knew that was an Ellen pick.
Yeah, everybody knows that now. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going back to my photos, and this one I always like. But I have to say, I've learned so much from this group and my other group that looking at that old, not all that old photo, but I darkened the back and I did a few other things just to make her pop more.
Nice.
She's a popper.
Hey, Bill, try the M key again because I haven't seen any metadata yet. There we go.
There we go.
And in first place, Linda.
Nice. Why, thank you. Yeah, this is in Bozeman, Montana, and this is one of my favorite places to photograph. And could get there every morning and every evening. And those are the Bridger Mountains. Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed hearing all about everything. Love your critique.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love
Nice.
the image.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Pictorial Masters, 3 images, third place. Herb.
It's so Herb, isn't it?
He's very good about getting somebody with a little bit of red in the image.
Usually it's his wife, I think.
Probably his wife. Beautiful picture. Woof.
Congratulations to Herb. Second place. Herb again.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Very nice image.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we should see the metadata,
This one doesn't have any
doesn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
because Bill hasn't switched it off.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Once you successfully display it and you don't touch the M key, if the image has it, it displays it.
Hmm.
Congratulations to Herb.
Wonderful.
First place,
Tamara.
Tamara.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
I knew that was a Tamara. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Congratulations. Journalism Advanced, 3 images, third place. Pat.
Thought that was yours, Pat.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
That's
behind the scenes. I'm
is
not
a-
really sure what he ended up constructing because we were really not supposed to be there, but I kind of snuck around and then we were caught. So I
Coming
didn't
up.
have a chance to see what his final product was going to be.
That's wonderful.
Congratulations. Second place, Stephanie.
Oh, nice. Wow. Whew.
Yep, sad story.
You guys get to such interesting places.
Congratulations to Stephanie. First place,
Oh,
Greg.
that's awesome.
Really cool.
Their faces are fabulous. The expressions.
Each kid. Amazing.
Congratulations to Greg. Journalism Masters, 3 images, third place, Tamara.
I wonder what the sticks are for. You know, those or the spears or what do they have?
I'm not sure I want to know.
I've been thinking that too. Are they?
Well, maybe they put them there to show that they're not going to use them, that it's just a peaceful,
Until after.
that's what I took it for.
Check
but-
your guns at the
Turn
door.
your back.
Yeah, I took it that way too. Yeah, leave your guns.
There's 2 stacks
of them.
That is so cool. Wow.
Congratulations to Tamara.
Oh,
Second place,
Oh,
Jennifer.
Yeah,
Oh.
this is
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, this was, it was disappointing, but it was a fun experience.
good job on putting this together. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great,
Spain
great
and
equipment.
The
I
most
don't know
fun
if
was
I-
that at the end of everyone's disappointed, we're getting ready to leave, and everyone's immediately talking about the eclipse in Spain in 26. Okay, this is over, but we're on to the next one.
Well, it looks like you were in a good spot because I've seen people go to shoot eclipses and then someone will come out with a flash.
Oh.
And it ruins the image, for everybody, all the other people's images. So we've always been very secluded when we've gone shooting, but it's a great series, really well
Yeah.
done.
Super fun.
Nice.
Congratulations. First place,
Votes. Yay.
Bill.
Done. Thank
Good
you.
one, Bill.
Very
That's a
nice.
great series.
In the rain.
Yeah, I
That
love
was
it.
amazing. It was amazing. It was pouring when it
Oh.
started. And then it cleared.
Pardon, dog distraction.
Did you know anybody in that group?
No.
Yeah,
I was just one of the photographers there, so it had really good access to take these pictures.
Oh, I bet they
well, I
love.
bet the families would love them. They're really good.
Wow.
Nice.
They have a website where all the images are posted. There were 4 of us that were taking pictures, and I think I submitted over 200.
Wow.
That's
Oh,
great.
man.
So
That
800,
works.
800 images somewhere on a website.
I was an official photographer for them about 10 years ago. It's a lot of fun. Contact them if you'd like to do it, and you'll have a great time.
Jerry Newman is the lead photographer, and he's recruiting. There's several members, I think, who have been there in the past, but he's the guy.
Yeah.
Cool.
That water's cold.
Oh. The
Anyway, thank you.
sinking ship.
Congratulations. Nature Intermediate, 1 image, first place,
Mark.
Mark.
That's 16.
Congratulations to Mark. Nature Advanced, 3 images, third place, Cindy.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Nice.
Very nice.
That is beautiful.
You're just touching the water. I love that.
Skimming.
Nice reflection.
Yeah, the reflection's really great.
Congratulations. Second place, Hat.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Thank you.
Fabulous shot.
Just stunning.
Yeah, I've never seen a bird with a snake.
Wrapped around like that.
Look.
Amazing.
Oh, where
Was
did
it
you take
local?
that?
It was one of the wildlife refuge is along I-5.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yes, but it was off,
Gorgeous.
off the beaten track.
Wow.
But yeah, it was beautiful.
You would
That's
have
just-
had something really dramatic if the snake tried to bite the plant to escape.
That would have been a capture for sure. It's moving pretty fast. I don't think he was going to give the snake a chance to escape.
gosh,
Congratulations.
more
First
fun.
place, Cindy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's pretty dramatic. Wow.
It would
Yeah.
be fun to see this as a panorama.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I struggled with the top a lot, trying to figure out if I should, because it's obviously cropped down, but I just couldn't figure out if you keep the grasses or not up there because they're so bright. But I think I'll try your suggestion and bring it down even more.
I like the dust behind the leopard. It's really
And
fast.
Just so you know, the topi got away.
Oh,
Good.
Oh, good.
The parents stepped in. A whole bunch of topis went after the leopard, and the little calf got away. So all was a happy ending.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Congratulations. Nature Masters, 3 images, 3rd place,
Ah, thank you.
Bill.
Beautiful.
So I'm always looking at bees to see if it's just one wild bee. You rarely see wild bees.
Yeah.
This is one of those cases.
So what lens did you use?
This is a long lens,
Mhm.
100 millimeters with a micro four thirds, so
Oh,
equivalent to 800 millimeter.
yeah, wow.
Are you telling me that no honeybees are wild?
Right.
Right,
I
They,
didn't know that.
right. In fact,
They came from Europe and they escaped, the ones that you find. They may be part of a colony or they may have escaped, so they're feral. So they're either used in industry or agriculture or they're feral. So our club has chosen to not have honeybees in nature unless there's a nature story about it.
Uh-huh. Well, that's interesting. I never knew that.
That differentiates it.
yeah, these guys don't make honey. They live in the ground and they have extremely long antenna. You can spot them from the long antenna.
Hmm.
Oh, wow. So where did you take this?
Oh, this is bees in bloom.
Bees and blooms. Oh, never been there. Bees and blooms.
Congratulations.
You.
2nd place, Jennifer.
That's great.
Thank you.
Great shot.
Yeah, this was last year's storm tracing trip. I'm hoping that I have similar luck this year.
Jennifer, where were you in Arizona?
This was near Tucson.
Okay, I love the shot.
No, thank you.
Great shot.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
And
I
I
mean,
thought
it
it's-
didn't have lightning or anything, but I really loved it just because it was all by itself out there.
Well, I live in Arizona, and that's my goal this summer is to try to chase some monsoons to see what I can get.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I
really
love the
fun.
rain over the mountain too. It's kind of just landing on the mountain. Nice
Yeah.
capture.
Yeah. These clouds made the mountains look so small. It's really amazing.
Congratulations. 1st place,
Whoa.
Tamara.
Nice.
Wow.
amazing. Wow.
And let's see, 248 millimeter lens, so she was back a ways.
Yeah.
Probably
Yes.
a good idea.
Good idea.
Yeah.
So
Really.
not a first date. That would be bad.
Congratulations to Tamara.
Beautiful.
Creative Intermediate, 2 images, 2nd place, Amy.
That is nice.
You visualize it. Usually you see it passing in front, but here we see it receding. So that was a flip on expectations.
Yeah. And those are clouds in front of that second from the right. That was another eclipse that we almost we did get skunked out of, except for Bill, who actually got a photo of the annularity. But the rest of us, just as it was getting just almost perfectly in front of the sun, the clouds came over and robbed us of the total experience.
Yeah, but Jennifer, you had some major fantastic results from that were very different from the one that the world got.
Yes, they were. Yes, I was really happy with what I did get. I was just jealous of Bill because he had the sense to glance up without his eclipse glasses on and realize that the clouds were obscuring it, but you could still see the annular eclipse through the thin clouds, Well, with the eclipse glasses on, forget it. You couldn't see a thing. You just could see that it was cloudy. But it was fun. It was a really fun experience. We went up to Winnemucca in Nevada.
Another
a bunch
fun
of us
place.
from the club, and it was really fun. I
It was.
would like to go to another annular eclipse. This is the first one I've ever been to, and it's really kind of cool. I mean, it isn't the darkness that you get with a total eclipse, but it's a different kind of experience. It's really neat.
The clouds added a lot, made it more interesting.
Yeah, the clouds did make it interesting.
Yeah.
They really did. But of course, in Texas, I got way too many clouds.
Wow.
Congratulations to Amy. First place. Mark.
Yeah. Branching out to creative.
For wasp.
Congratulations to Mark. Creative Advanced, 4 images. Honorable mention. Greg. Congratulations to Greg. Third place. Cindy.
Nice.
Thank you.
That's really
That's-
fun.
Really cool image.
And where did you take this one?
I live in Prescott, Arizona, and so this is about 30 minutes north of Prescott. You can kind of see the lights at the lower part of the trees, and that was where the lights from Prescott. And that white you were asking about, Lisa, that's tagging. That's why I left it in, but I'll consider your suggestion and get rid of it.
Photographer's choice, Cindy.
Good idea of the train shot. That's really
It
cool.
was accident. We weren't expecting a train to come through, so it was just, oh, we're lucky here. So it was kind of fun. I didn't have time to change my settings, so I just left them for the night sky and went with it.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations. Second place. Linda.
Oh, thank you. This was two tulips that I just kept moving the camera. I was on the tripod and just click, turn, click, turn, click, turn, click, turn, click, turn. It was really fun with the, of course, all the black background was there. But yeah, thanks for all the advice on this too.
Congratulations. First place.
Oh, yeah.
Sherry.
So
That
cool.
was really
Yeah.
creative.
Oh. Very cool. I want to know how she did it.
Yeah, I
It's hard
don't
to
know.
tell you.
And the sepia is just perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
And the,
It's probably 3 layers.
yeah, no, wonderful bison.
Yeah.
Like the birds on the back.
Oh, yeah, right. I didn't even notice those. That's really cool.
Not on the nickel.
Oh.
Congratulations to Sherry. Creative Masters, first place.
Oh,
Jennifer.
Right.
this this is an in-camera double exposure.
Oh, interesting.
I was photographing that, but I took the first one and was upset because the bird had just turned his head away. But then when he turned his head back, I was able to catch him again. And it just looked like, after I got it on the screen, of the present looking to the future and the future looking back at its past self. Anyway, it was a fun thing to mess around with.
Oh, super fun.
Oh, good.
Congratulations. Best image of the evening goes to
Yes.
Sherry.
Ah,
Yay.
yeah,
That's great.
that's awesome.
You see the 5
I
cents.
think she's dealing with some stuff that's.
Buffalo nickel.
Yeah,
It states at 5 cents.
buffalo nickel, but with a live buffalo.
It'll be interesting to see what N4C does with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Why do you say that?
Oh, because there's going to be multiple judges, and this is the creative category, and I always love seeing how different judges view creative images.
That's great.
Because to me, it tells me a whole lot about the judge.
Beautiful.
Yeah, very creative, very clever.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Everybody.
Thank
How
you
nice
very
to-
much.
Well, you're
Very
welcome.
much.
Thank you for having me judge and seeing your images, and just keep doing what you're doing. It's
Thank
going
you.
great. Okay.
Great job.
We will definitely invite you back.
Oh, thank you.
We want
I
you
appreciate
again.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Thank you
been
very
fun.
much.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye, folks.
Good night.
Hi.
Hey, good night.
Thank you.
Night.
Thank you, everybody.